Are you an ambitious leader ready to break through limiting beliefs, align with your purpose, and thrive in your career without sacrificing your well being or postponing your true desires? I'm Diana Ordonez, certified high performance coach and your host. Each week, we'll dive into actionable insights and research based strategies to help you unlock clarity, build unshakable confidence, and take courageous action toward a life of impact and fulfillment. If you're ready to overcome fear, embrace growth, and step boldly into your next level, you're in the right place. Let's create a life filled with courage and purpose together. Welcome back, everybody, to the Courage and Purpose podcast. I am joined by Jason Pooley today. Jason and I met during a recertification for our certified high performance coaching program, and he brought me on his podcast shortly after that. And I am so excited to have him on because that moment was so pivotal for me to then later finally take the plunge and start my own podcast. So it's kind of a full circle moment, which is exciting. And I also, had such a powerful coaching session with Jason that I'm excited to now have him on to talk about certified high performance coaching, but also all the work that you're doing now with helping business owners, right? So Jason is a high performance business and lifestyle coach, and he has a very unique background in that you started, it in such a different way from maybe the typical business coach. So why don't you kind of tell us a little bit about how you got started and how that evolved? And I think it's such a powerful message of purpose too, because one of the things that I often talk about is how we turn our pain into purpose. So with
Yeah,
that,
on that.
I'll kind of let you tell a little bit of your story.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, but it was last year, wasn't it? 2024 that we met at CHPC, Certified High Performance Coaching.
I I think it
It's kind
was
of
end of
20, was it
2023, I think,
end of
maybe.
23? Wow. Okay, yeah. And obviously we met in a little breakout room, right? So obviously during one of the training days. And yeah, right. As you were just sharing, I remember you kind of speaking about podcast and getting your head around that. And I'm so glad that you've kind of decided to step in and lean into it. And here we are. Awesome. Thank you for bringing me on.
Thank you for coming on. So, Jason, what led you to coaching? Like, how did you get here?
Coaching, yeah. So I've always had coaches. So my background was tennis. So I played a lot of tennis as a kid and moved into full-time tennis for some time. And so I always had coaches, and obviously that was a high performance kind of experience. And had some amazing coaches, not so great coaches as well. And I realized now coaching myself and looking back, I realized that the great coaches were the ones that understood me, and they definitely challenged me, and they inspired me to level, they inspired me to see what was possible in my life. And so yeah, it's just kind of come around full circle really. So I've had an entrepreneurial journey behind the tennis world, and then yeah, it's kind of led to here, which is awesome. And yeah, I love it. I love coaching. I think it's amazing. I think everyone should have a coach. Like I say, everyone should have a therapist at some point in their life, and so everyone should have a coach for sure. And it seems to be heading that way, right? Not just athletes and um, CEOs and kind of high level business executives. It seems that yeah, a lot of people are now starting to work with coaches because they realize that it's such a powerful experience on many levels.
Yeah, so oftentimes when we say the word coach, we definitely think about a fitness coach, right? Like that is our typical view of what a coach looks like. And what's unique about you being now a business and lifestyle coach is that that is the originating place that you were exposed to coaching to begin with was in the fitness world. How would you say it's either been the same or different? I know you talked about how the best coaches helped you feel understood. How would you say fitness coaching or you were a professional tennis player, which is like a very specific skill set. How would you say that's different from like a lifestyle or a business coach, or how are they the same?
I mean, they cross over for sure. There's lots of similarities, absolutely. Like, you know, life coaching, there's a lot of life coaching out there, but I feel like, when I'm working with business owners, we're doing a lot of work on themselves and how they show up in their life and how they impact other people's lives. So it you can't really distinct like that they all come together, right? So life coaching, business coaching, high performance coaching, they really powerfully work together. Typically what happens, I'll just give you a bit of a backstory. So from my tennis days, I ended up teaching tennis all over the world. I was in Hong Kong, and I started practicing yoga out there because I had lots of injuries, and yoga was something that had a huge impact on my life. And so I then searched for who's the best yoga teachers out there that can kind of take me to the next level. And then I decided to train as a yoga teacher. And then that's where my entrepreneurial journey began. So I set up a house of yoga, which is a yoga studio. We had yoga studios in London and a training school that we still have. But that's really where my coaching journey began, if I'm honest, is in regards to me helping and coaching others was in that business, which was amazing for 10 plus years. And yeah, I kind of just naturally started to feel like, wow, I need a coach. I need someone to help me direct me along this journey of business because I've never had a business myself. And that was really powerful. And yeah, like we say, here we are. And I kind of feel like now I'm my niche. We talked about this last week, right? It's just organically happened over the last couple of years that I'm working with lots more business business owners that are having a lot of success in their businesses, but not holistic success. So, they're chasing their big focus on results, and they're doing amazingly well. Don't get me wrong, but when it comes to holistic success, their well-being, their mindset, their kind of habit optimization, that's where I have been coming in and really supporting them, and then just starting to, yeah, like I said to you last week, having a real impact on their figures, their financial side of the business, because that's what business is, right? It's accounting and numbers. And so, yeah, they all come together. They all cross over, Diana, as you know.
Yeah, so what I hear is how naturally, when you're trying to be a better tennis player, you got a tennis coach. And then when you saw the need to pursue a business doing the thing that helped you to then help others, you
Right.
said, oh, naturally, I need someone that helps me now build this business. And so uh, what I heard is like you were under, I imagine, an immense amount of pain because you couldn't play the game that you dedicated so much of your life to, and that you found that yoga was the thing that was going to allow you to heal your body. And then what you learned is like, okay, well, how do I find the best way of learning to do this the best? And you got a coach for that. And so or a teacher, if you want to call it that. But then once you kind of mastered that skill, you were like, okay, now I want to teach other trainers to do the same thing. And then you created all the schools for the teachers. And then that became a growing business. And now it sounds like you acquired the skills to make that a successful business by finding a coach that was already doing that. And then now you're helping other business owners do the same. And one of the things that drew me to reach out to you is a lot of times, entrepreneurs, high performers, they have a lot of demands on their lives. And like you said, maybe they're high performers in their business, but maybe they're not high performers in other areas of their lives. Um, but I know that I had a lot of pressure put on myself when I was in corporate to just keep adding more and more and more to my plate. Like I felt like I had to do everything. And
Mm.
you had posted something like, that to me signaled the message, do more by doing less, right? And so what does that mean to you?
I think like when I look at, I was actually writing a post today, or part of my newsletter this week was the most productive people that I know. They don't do more; they actually do less, but they're amazing at saying no to what they need to say no to. So they end up prioritizing what I call the most important needle moving activities, but not just to move their business forwards, but also to find that sustainability and balance in their life, which is really difficult as a business owner, as a small business owner, right? There's a lot going on. And yeah, like when it comes to, we talked about the 80/20 rule, right? It's so powerful. And it's it's key because the pattern that I see, Diana, and I have seen now over the years, and I've experienced it myself. And so I feel like that's also because that's such an authentic part of my journey. I've experienced the pain points of that is get so consumed in the business. Like you have this dream and vision of building a business and having impact, but then it really becomes a different kind of machine, and you just get so consumed in it. And then so it's usually well-being gets impacted, potentially like relationships get impacted. Yeah. And so again, that's not when you talk about high performance, I think there's a big difference between high performance and happy high performance. That they're two different things.
Hmm.
And so I see that the high performing individuals that are doing great things, but also they're finding this greater balance in their life. And it's not doing more. It's just doing the right things, the
Right.
right time. Yeah.
So, how do you decide what are the right things, right? We talk about the 80/20 rule. I mean, that means that really 20% of the activities that we take part in our business or in our personal lives are going to have like 80% of the results. Like they're responsible for the majority of our success, right? Whether it be, it sounds like you're applying it to all areas, whether it be the business or our relationships or our health. And so what is that 20%, and how do we like focus all our energy on those high
Mm.
impact activities, whether and how do you identify them? But also, what do you do with the 80% of the stuff that you were also saying yes to before?
Right,
Right?
yeah, because usually it's the other way around, right? For a lot of people, it seems to be the other way around, and that's where overwhelm and burnout seems to play out. And so there's a lot of busyness and a lot of stuff happening, but also stuckness and like I said, overwhelm and that plays out. So it's a good question actually because it's not like there's just one. Okay, what is the 20%? So you have to kind of really start to look at how do we minimize things here. So for example, for a business owner, small business owner, right, that has I don't know, let's say $1 million, £1 million business, and they've got starting to build it, and there's just so much, they're just doing kind of lots of things, right?
Hmm.
And part of that is just learning to to kind of let go and create this autonomy in the business. But in regards to your question around what is like what finding locating that 20% is that's not easy, right? But it could be, for example, in a kind of business sense that, all right, 20% over the next 4 weeks, you're going to focus on cutting cost in the business. I know there's going to be other stuff going on, or you're going to focus on your market dominating position for the next 4 weeks. And that's the 20%, which will create 80% of your success or results. Yeah. You're not going to try and do every all these strategies at once because that's when it just gets too much, right? And that's kind of more business sense, but in regards to, yeah, you're right, you can apply it everywhere, right? And if you think about longevity and sustainability,
Hmm.
um, it's just it's just focusing on the most important priorities that will get you that will get you there. Doesn't mean get you there faster, but will get you there without feeling cooked.
Yeah. So I think one of a couple of the things that I think about when we're talking about this are like the book, Eat That Frog. It's
Mm,
because it's like usually the high impact actions that you could take that will make the biggest difference are the ones that we're avoiding, right? They're like the most painful ones. It's
Right.
like the exercise, it's the the presentation that you keep putting off, or
Yeah.
you know, it's like the client that feels like they're beyond your reach, so you haven't reached out to them yet because you don't feel ready, right? It's usually the thing that either scares you or feels really hard,
Mm, mm, mm.
that I think does make that impact. And so, like you said, most of the time we find ourselves in busy work because I think, and I've seen that in myself, it's because it feels like low-hanging fruit. And so I could just I'm like almost a dopamine addict in that sense. Like, oh, I crossed it off the list. It feels good to do.
Exactly. Yeah. And busyness can have you feeling like you're being productive, but actually it's the opposite. It's draining your energy, your focus, and your time, which is we can argue that your time is pretty much one of your greatest resources, right? And focus. But if you're just super, super busy, it doesn't actually mean that you're being highly productive,
Right.
right? And that comes back to what I said earlier, is the most productive people I know, they actually have a lot of space. They create space to transition, and they create in their schedules, their schedules, their calendars are not just crazy busy.
Yeah.
They've got quite a bit of space.
So I find even in myself that one of the reasons that we become so attached to like trying to do everything is really lack of clarity around what is the thing that I'm actually trying to do. I think when I go back to the why and the mission and the purpose, some of that stuff starts to get a little bit clearer. But also, um, it is like not being clear on what is really gonna make an impact, like having a lot of questions around, well, will this work or will that work more? Or would this work? Okay, let's just do everything. Right? It's like,
It's exactly
so tell me
spinning around
about,
in circles.
yeah. What are some of the tools that you use to help business owners get clarity around what are the actions that people can take to impact their businesses in a bigger way? And when you say impact in business, what I think your journey taught you is that you could um, be feeling like you're doing well, but the what says whether a business is actually going to be thriving or not is, the profit and the way it's profitable or not profitable. And so what are the how do you get clarity around the activities that will impact the business in those ways without losing sight of your why and your purpose and your mission?
Yeah, I think that's difficult, but it's possible, right? And the why and the purpose and the mission is a big thing that you talk about, right? And it's so, so important because that's what energizes us. That's what elevates us.
Yeah.
And a lot of business owners, including me for sure, in my yoga studio business, right, that grew rapidly over the years, was I lost that. Like I lost my why. I was so clear on it at the beginning. It was all about building community, all about having impact and helping people, and having that kind of next level contribution. And I lost that why a few times. Like, and I think so many business owners lose that. They lose sight of that, and they get so caught up in the weeds, let's say, right, of the business. So yeah, I like that what you're talking about, clarity. And well, clarity comes from, well, firstly, clarity is a high performing habit. Yeah.
Mm.
It comes, it's right at the front end of, and how do we get clarity? Well, we've got to get really curious. We've got to ask some amazing questions. We've got to explore. We've got to be very curious, right, to get clarity. It's not like it's, for some people, it's a light bulb moment, but usually clarity is over a period of time. Yeah, and that's why having a coach is amazing because a coach will be there to support that clarity piece. I mean, there's so much more, right? But having someone to talk to and kind of share your concerns and worries and excitements, all of that helps you to get real clear on what is it that we're doing? What are we doing here? Where are we going? What's the end point? The say the like the outcome goal, whatever that goal is. And just kind of doing the things daily, weekly, monthly to just get you a little bit closer to that outcome. But yeah, clarity is powerful, isn't it? You know that as a high performance coach. It's gold, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think when we have clarity, we can take action more like quickly, more effectively. Um, and I think where I've been challenged is not recognizing when the lack of clarity came from the um, avoidance of feelings, kind of.
Mm.
Because what you described is really intuition, that light bulb moment where it all kind of comes together. It feels right, right? And so the lack of ability to connect with that intuition that keeps us in this like second guessing type of loop where we don't have clarity and then we don't take the right action or we try to take all the actions at once. It's
Mhm.
the 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 avoidance of a feeling, whether it's that I don't want to fail or I don't want to disappoint people, so I don't want to say no to them or
All of that. Yeah, yeah.
all of those things that we avoid. And so instead of allowing ourselves to feel the feelings,
I think that's really important. Like you just mentioned the intuition and, starting to, because coming back to a lot of people get in their head, they get stuck, and they're just overwhelmed, overthinking about stuff. It's like it's exhausting, right? And so I'm quite holistic when it comes to coaching. I'd say I'm more left field. Um, so, meaning I'll bring in holistic practices to get people back in their body and less in their head and to get connected to their intuition because that connects them back to clarity, right? And so what that might look like is I'll introduce them to meditation and some breath work and some practices that will allow them to get grounded, to
Hmm.
stay calm in the storm, right? Because it's
Mhm.
not an easy journey. And so that brings them back to slowing down and when they slow down they can speed back up and it's for me it's all about holistic success. It's not just about business success. This is about because you can build a business. Not everyone, but a lot of people can build a business and grow it and have great impact. But to have that all-round holistic success is the game to play because there's longevity and sustainability there, right? It comes back to this high performing experience of, okay, I'm going to look after myself here. I'm not going to cook myself. I'm not going to kill myself over this. I'm going to slow down. I'm going to become more mindful, and I can still have great success. And that's the work that I see now with business, a lot of small business owners is that's really powerful because they can get to where they want to get to. Firstly, they enjoy it more. Yeah. And secondly, they experience greater well-being, Diana, to be honest.
Yeah, I think the lie that we all kind of tell ourselves as high performers before we go on this journey is that, but if I just keep pushing through and I do more, that it could be even better. Because, right? We're gonna we're gonna use more of our time, more of our energy for the thing that we really want to do. And I think what you're saying is if you don't, have a holistic view of your whole self, then you are heading towards burnout, and then it isn't sustainable and not
Yeah,
going to be
exactly.
viable long term.
Yeah, and that shows up in many that shows up burnout shows up or compounded overwhelm is manifested in so many ways,
Right.
right? And yeah, that it's just it doesn't work. It doesn't work. And so It might work for a period of time, and you got to go at it sometimes, right? I mean, for me, if I look back, is I had to at certain times I had to really go for it, but then know how to kind of slow down and back off to speak. Because when you slow down, you can speed back up again,
Yeah. Yeah,
right?
because you're re-energizing yourself basically. You're
Resetting,
Mhm.
recharging, yeah, resetting,
Recharging.
recharge,
So
yeah.
what do you say to the business owner that has started to take care of themselves? They're very clear on their why and their mission, and they subscribe to this 80/20 rule, right? Like, I don't want to do more, I just want to do the right thing. Wow. Like, how do you help them? Because I know it seemed like, again, in your life, you kind of hit that point, and so you found tools that helped you, and now that's how you help business owners as well.
Yeah, so there are different ways, like different strategies. Specifically, like right now, I'm actually transitioning more into like still very holistic and high performance and energy management, all of that for business owners. I love doing a lot of vision, but when it comes to strategies,
Mm,
my big focus now is it's what I call profit accelerator.
mm,
So, okay, let's really look at these needle moving strategies that are the 20%, right? These, if you focus on these strategies, and I'll give you some areas for some of these strategies. So that might be cutting cost for a small business owner, increasing prices, market dominating position, upsell, downsell, cross sell, right? Lead pipeline generation, digital marketing. There's like these core areas, strategies that would make up the 20%.
mm,
And then so let's focus on these strategies, not all at once, because that's the other way around. That's 80, that's the
right.
overwhelm. Yeah. Let's break it all down and go what's going to be the most important for your business where you are right now,
Mm,
and let's focus on this area for say 4 weeks, 5 weeks, and let's create a strategy. And yes, you're going to have other stuff going on, but big chunks of your day and week is going to be focused on this strategy.
mm,
Yeah. And so this strategy is the 20%. And focus on this, and it's going to get you the 80% of the results, which is then you start looking at the profit, right? The bottom line.
mm.
Um, which is
So
an
my
accelerator.
Yeah. So my understanding, right, that I guess this platform, you enter all your information, whether it be like everyone that's in your pipeline, your current revenue, your like how does it know what the 20% is going to be? Like how does it give you that
So
feedback?
so the 20% is the strategies, these core
Oh, it's
strategies,
all of
right?
those.
The
Okay.
strategies, right? And then what would happen is typically, so let's say a business owner, and so a lot of the business owners that I'm working with are starting to look now at the Profit Accelerator software because it can really change the game for them for sure and have a holistic approach, right? Is they you would have to start with some financial figures. So typically what that is current turnover of the business. Let's say it's $1 million, $2 million, right? And then you would have gross profit margin, GPM, and then you'd have net profit margin, which is NPM. And you just really kind of start with those figures. And then we start looking at, okay, what's possible in this area?
Hmm.
There's some coaching and there's some questions, there's some exploration, and it would typically be, hey, Diana, like if you really focused on this area, what impact do you think this could potentially have on your business?
Hmm.
Right? And a business owner might say, well, actually, I think it's good. I think that will have like 8% impact on my bottom line, 10%, and it's usually it's higher, right? And then it's what I call the compound effect, which we've all heard of, right? You start to notice these small incremental changes because your focus now is on the key needle moving areas that's going to get you a better result without trying to do everything, which is which is the thing that happens. And it's a real game changer for sure. And um, yeah, that's kind of where my coaching is shifting shifting has shifted more towards because I've noticed over the last couple of years the patterns of wow, these guys are really doing well. They're actually committing to being a better business owner, creating more space and time for themselves, for their families, to be with their families, right? Not so consumed in the business. But they're noticing, okay, this is great, but bottom line's not shifting so much, right?
Hmm.
And sometimes that's hard to like, how do we see that? But this, you can see it. You can actually see the real impact.
Yeah.
Um, so it gives them an insight and a possibility of, wow, actually, here's $200,000 or £200,000 we're leaving on the table here. Um, let's explore this. Let's put some focus on this. And then the great thing is there is strategy and implementation. So it gives them clarity on this is what now we need to work on.
Yeah, it sounds like you're able to project if you made a change in this way using
Yeah,
these
exactly.
percent strategies. How does it impact your business? So that clarity and reasons for why you're taking action are set from the beginning. Because I know one of the I can appreciate why you would want to coach someone through that. I can see how there's an emotional factor to this in that I'm not seeing results. I'm not seeing results. I'm not seeing results. Let's go back to doing what we were doing, or let's try something different, or
Hmm.
it becomes an emotional thing to change, right? When we talk about like change management, change the
Hmm.
way we operate or what we decide that we're going to work on, or pour our energy into. And so how much of your coaching do you feel is like consulting with them about what the 20% you're going to focus on in a specific month versus walking them through or coaching them through kind of the emotions that come up and
Right. Yeah.
the
That's a
mindset.
good that's a great because well that never goes away, right? The mindset and that whole journey is it's just it's a never ending journey, right? As a business owner um pivots, maybe they bring in new team or they start to look at joint ventures and alliances and collaborations. There's a lot of emotional stuff that comes with that. And so I feel I'm very confident that yeah, of course I can support them with that, but then alongside um the profit accelerator or even the wealth builder, right? Because it's not all about, let's be honest, it's not all about profit, but profit if there's no profit, then there's no message. There's no journey. There's
Right.
no impact, right? And
Right.
I've experienced that. I mean, with the yoga studio business, we were super profitable all the way through, literally from month one, which is rare. It was just kind of with the model, but we were a profitable business for 9, 10 years. And then unfortunately, COVID came along and did change the
Yeah.
model. It had a huge impact. So I know what it's like to be a business owner that's has got great profit, but I also know what it's like to then see on the other side of the coin, and it's not a pretty place. It's
Yeah.
difficult. A lot of stress
Right.
comes with that, a lot of worry and concern, and then for a lot of businesses, do you know actually the percentage of businesses that make it to 10 years?
What is it?
It's crazy. It's like well, 95% of businesses don't make it to year 10. That's the kind of stat. So it's not easy, right?
Yeah. That's incredible. That means if you're in business for over 10 years, you're the
You're
5%. It's a
you're
big,
up there. Or yeah, it's even a smaller percentage, I think. So it's yeah, so of course profit is a massive part of it, and there's so many ways where that can play out. But again, this is why I think it's great that you talk about purpose, right? So if you put those two together, purpose and profit, you got a powerful recipe there, right?
yeah. So I think one of the things that as business owners and high performers we struggle with is letting go, right? And I think that's a big mindset thing.
Really
Is we
is.
want to feel in control of everything and we want to, do everything. And so, yeah, like you said, mindset is a big piece of that, letting go of the 80% because we trust that the 20% is what's going to be the needle moving activities, not
Mm,
trying to
mm,
be all or
mm,
nothing.
mm.
Um, and it sounds like you have some great tools for really helping people not only with the tactical, practical things that they could do, but also a lot of the emotional and mindset pieces of it. So I
Yeah,
would,
so one thing I would say is for a business owner, this is what I would share with, my clients is that, and they've got team members and they do find it hard to let go, like you say. I've definitely been there, right? It's difficult to be able to create that, or you want to create that autonomy, but if someone in your team in the business can do what you can do up
yeah,
to say 70%, then you got to delegate. You just got to hand the baton over, delegate and help them and be supportive, be a support to them through that journey so they can get to 75, 80, 90. But you got to be able to delegate.
yeah.
If they can do something as good as you at 70%, pass the baton over.
That's a good kind of benchmarks. If they can do 70% of it, it's time to hand it over.
It's time. Yep,
Yeah, that's good.
absolutely.
That's good. Well, I would love for people that want to really dig into the numbers and with someone that has that holistic frame of mind to be able to connect with you. What's the best way for them to do that?
Well, you can, so my website, jasonpooley.com, right? So
Yeah.
PWOLEY.com, or jasonpooley.com. So you can find more information out there. And uh, yeah, I'm on Instagram. I do quite a bit on LinkedIn, right? So you can check me out on LinkedIn. There's kind of daily content that's going out there. Not so much on Instagram, but there is stuff going on there. And yeah, if anyone's listening that, you have a business, you got a big vision and you need some support for sure if you want to look at any of that. And I'm happy to have that conversation. But I've loved this, Diana. This is awesome. I know it's been short, right? And we're kind of short on time,
Yeah.
but it's great that we can connect.
Yeah, I love to talk about business and mindset. And I think the 80/20 rule and just shifting our perspective on how we use our time is so important. So I'm glad that you came on and talked about how, doing the right things is really how the biggest, most successful entrepreneurs and businesses are achieving that is by focusing on the most important things.
Dialing
And
in. Yeah,
yeah,
dialing in, and it's not easy. That is not easy, like we
yeah.
talked about today, but it's very possible and it's very powerful once you get that system in place. There was something else I wanted to share just before I go off. I know I've got a kids footy, but it's kind of gone out of my mind now. But it's very aligned to our conversation. I'll send it over to you or something. I wanted to share something, but it's now popped out of my mind.
That's okay. I'm glad that you're doing the work you're doing. It's so important because the people that are out there building businesses for a very meaningful purpose can't do it if they're not making the profits that allow them to stay in business for a long time and grow. And the more your business grows, the more your impact grows. And those purpose and vision centered entrepreneurs. Um,
Mhm.
do need the ability to grow their business in order to keep making that impact. So thank you for the work that you do.
Yeah, you're welcome. Well done for the podcast. And yes, I'm looking forward to seeing it grow and see where it goes.
Thanks so
Awesome.
much, Jason. I hope you have that a great game at your son's game or practice.
Thank you. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you for tuning into today's episode of Courage and Purpose. I hope today's insights inspired you to take bold action and align your life and career with what truly matters to you. If you're ready to dive deeper, I invite you to download my free action indicator assessment. a powerful tool to help you uncover what's holding you back and take the next step towards clarity and confidence. Just visit www.lifeonpurpose.coach/action indicator to get started today. If you found value in today's episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast with someone who could use a little extra courage on their journey. Until next time, stay true to your purpose, lead with courage, and keep thriving. I'll see you in the next episode.